I've just finished up down here at the barn. You know, everyone's been fed, they've got morning hay, I've picked the paddocks. I've also opened the ring gates down at the end so that the vet can just pull on in and they can park real close to this other gate. And then we'll have real easy access to the horses because they'll all be in the barnyard and the feedlots. But because it's just now a little after 10, I'm gonna head back inside, kind of stay cool for a bit, maybe do some laundry or whatever else needs to be done. And then I'll come back outside in about 30 minutes and go ahead and then put everyone into their areas with their halters on, their fly spray on, and that way we'll be ready and waiting for the vet. So, as I wait for the vet, I figured this is a good time to go ahead and give all of our little outdoor garden plants some water. Most of these are pepper plants. We've got quite a variety of peppers. We have, you know, several different spicy peppers and green peppers and colored peppers, and we've got a banana pepper that I just bought yesterday, so a really nice variety, but they all need water so they don't dry out. So I'll do that and then I'll step inside. I did water everything when they first came out this morning, but because it is sunny and quickly warming, I will probably make sure everything gets water a few times over the course of the day. You know, the last thing we want are for these little roots to dry out. So everything's had a little sip now. And you know, this is a travel cup. I love to use this little travel cup with it just barely open because some of these plants are still very, very small. You know, these itty bitty peppers here, these were orange bell peppers that literally came out of a pepper that I sliced open and ate about 2 weeks ago. So you really can take store peppers and you can stick them in the ground and you can yield peppers, pepper plants. I feel like I need to clarify a little more about the peppers. So these little teeny baby pepper plants, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 12 of these little teeny tiny plants that have come up. And what I meant when I said you can just take a store-bought pepper and, you know, stick it in the ground. Okay, not the whole pepper, guys. I guess you could in a compost, it would break down and be the same thing, but the seeds, if you take the seeds out of a store-bought pepper, you could potentially grow pepper plants just like we have here. We have tried this though with hatch chilies before, and those seeds did not sprout. They did not germinate and then, you know, sprout. So I'm not sure if they were genetically modified or what. I'm not that well versed with all things, you know, plants just yet. I'm heading back out to the barn now. It's about 10:45. The minis are down in the bottom, so I'm going to bring them up. I will probably put Shenanigans and Snuggles in the feedlots, and then I can leave Sweetheart and Rocky loose in the barnyard. Everyone will have their halters on, and they'll be quick and easy to catch. So let me go grab them now. I do see everybody, and the last thing I want to do is put a little fly spray on them before the vet pulls in. I wanted to give you an update like I said I would. The vet left not long ago, and everyone was great. They got their shots. Snuggles got her Coggins done, and then I had kind of a slew of questions for the vet. And I really started off with Sweetheart because we have been monitoring her breathing for quite some time, you know, several months now since we brought her home on Halloween Day. We've really been watching her since then. You know, my question for the vet was, do we still suspect this is an allergy or could it be Heaves? And, you know, the vet did an exam and, you know, she could hear a little bit of a kind of a wheeze, you know, in her lungs. And so it's still hard to say whether it's an allergy or Heaves, but the vet recommended that we go ahead and just continue her on her allergy medicine. And she said that she thought we should go ahead and just try her on 2 doses a day, so a total of 6 pills, you know, 3 in the morning, 3 at night, just to see if on the off chance it gives her some relief. So I'm happy to do that. You know, the allergy pills are pretty inexpensive. And she said, you know, even if we are looking at Heaves versus the allergy medicine may still help to give her some relief because the hope is that it's helping to kind of quiet her airway and the inflammation. Another thing the vet said was, if she ever has like an allergy attack, to go ahead and give her some Dex. And that's a medicine I've never used before personally. I know some people are concerned about laminitis with the use of Dex, so it's something I definitely want to look into and be very cautious about. The vet was gonna send me just sort of like the best practices, because it's not something I'm very familiar with. So that was kind of another update for Sweetheart. While I had the vet here, I also asked about hauling and whether or not she felt that would cause any more stress on Sweetheart's, airway. And she said, really, we just need to try it and see. There's a chance that she won't have any additional issues from it, but there's also a chance that it could cause a real flare-up. And so she recommended that, whenever we do haul her, to go ahead and be sure to always have our Dex with us. And that way, if she does have any sort of, breathing attack, it's similar to like an asthma attack, we would be able to treat it right then and there. So that was good to hear, that at least the vet isn't saying, no way, Jose, don't ever haul her. She needs to stay where she is. But I want to be really careful and very mindful with this horse, really with all of my horses, but I feel she's a little more delicate than others because of her situation and her breathing issues. So, whenever we do haul, we're going to be really cautious, really careful, make sure the trailer is good and clean. I will not be hanging any sort of hay bags because I don't want anything else to be, irritating her airway. No shavings in the trailer. I'm going to really keep it just as clean as I can to keep the dust down. So those are some little updates I have on Sweetheart. And it was good just to have the vet come out, give her one more look over. She listened to her lungs. She could hear a little wheezing. We went ahead, we drew blood. There's no infection, no pneumonia or anything. So good. That's kind of best case at this point, that, yes, it's a chronic airway issue, but at least there's no infection. So that was good to at least rule that out. I also mentioned that we could be proactive and give her a round of Dex like the night before or that morning, similar to how someone with activity-induced asthma can use their inhaler beforehand. Giving the Dex ahead of time might help to open up her airways and kind of keep her from having that later attack that she could otherwise have had. So those are some recommendations and some suggestions from the vet. It's always nice to hear what they have to say. And I think I will go ahead then with their recommendation and try taking her to a horse show that's coming up here shortly. It's a very short haul from home. I'll clean the trailer extra special well. I don't plan on putting any sort of shavings or hay in there, just to keep the dust and the debris down, and we'll see how she does. So fingers crossed she does well, because she is such a wonderful, wonderful companion. I know that Rocky will really benefit from her steadiness. A couple of other things that I also wanted to chat with the vet about surrounded Rocky. And one of them was the fact that I did see his stifle was kind of catching and popping a few weeks back. I think it was back in March even. And the vet said that, minis can be prone to this, which I had seen before. And she wasn't too worried. She said that the more fit he gets, the more like hill work he does. He won't be carrying weight because, he's too small to ride. But she was saying that, fitness could help kind of just strengthen everything. She didn't think that it had come from any sort of like overuse or rough housing, which was good because, he and Shenanigans do get to doing that sometimes. But she, again, wasn't overly concerned, which was nice. I also asked about Rocky's tendency to kind of eat like manure, to chew on dried out fecal balls. And again, the vet wasn't overly concerned. It's just nice to hear. I mean, I wasn't too concerned, but it was nice to hear her say that, because he is, eating plenty of grass and hay, he has a salt mineral block out in the field. And, because we're not suspecting a deficiency, she said probably it's just a learned behavior from some other, phase of his life. I did also mention though that I do plan on starting to give him just a little bit of grain for maintenance, because I feel he's kind of borderline of being just a touch too thin. And she recommended the balancer, which is just another really great way to cover all your bases with vitamins and minerals. And so I'll probably pick a bag of that up here in the next day or two and just start him on, you know, a very small amount of that. So that was kind of the Rocky update. Now that I have finished up with the vet and I've already had lunch, it's now early afternoon. So I think what I will do with this really beautiful afternoon, it is really hot and sunny, but it's still a beautiful afternoon, is go and plant those flowers that I bought yesterday. They are going to go into a flower bed down here at the end of our driveway. And I'm going to give them a little more water to make sure they're very well hydrated. And then I will put them into the ground, and then they can just grow and be beautiful. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed these follow-ups and sort of, recommendations from the vet. I always find it so helpful whenever I talk to them. And I wanted to show you the flowers. I did get them in the ground. They look fantastic. So again, thank you for joining us. Hope you check back soon. We're always up to something here on the farm. Have a great rest of your day. Bye, guys.